Okay, in this video we're going to look at a couple of skaters that are going full speed. They're going to start at the top of the circle, they're going to go around the net, and then try to get up the ice as fast as possible. We're going to look at three things, and they're related to when the players are going in a straight line. So there's lots of things we could look at with their crossovers or their balance or whatever, but we're going to look at just three specific things. Now, a lot of these ideas come from a guy named Jason Yee out of Canada. He's got some very interesting things online. He's done a lot of work looking at modern skaters and applying modern scientific physiology concepts to look at how we can generate as much speed as possible when we're skating in hockey. So we're going to look at three things. First is what we might think of as a spring, and that's using our inner core muscles, kind of hips up, to spring us forward. We're going to look at the landing foot to make sure that's the most efficient way to land after the stride. And then we're going to look at the push and make sure the push is going to the outside and we're getting the maximum leverage out of that push. So we'll look at the first skater here. We got two views. We got a side view and we have a front angle view. And again, there's a lot of stuff we could look at early on, but really we're focused on this part right here when they get going forward. So first thing, let's look at the spring. Well, let's talk about the spring for a second. When we're talking about a spring, what we're talking about is utilizing the core muscles right in this area. And when we're twisting in our stride, there's two things that are happening. Our body kind of twists to the side like this, back and forth. And one of the things we get out of that twist is we get forward momentum, force forward. So it's pushing us the direction we want to go, this direction. And the other thing that we're getting is we're actually loading potential energy in our muscles like a spring would load if you put tension on a spring. Or you can even use your fingers as an example. If you hold your hand up and you pull back on a finger and then you let go, it springs back forward to its regular resting position. Same thing with these muscles. As they load here, they want to spring back. So we want to use that to help us, again, lunge forward. So let's watch this skater and see if he's using that. So right here, I think he probably could spring a little bit more using that left shoulder to spring forward right here. Spring forward, get a little bit more of a twist there. It's a little bit abbreviated. Then watch this one. That one, you really get a lot of spring from his right leg stride. You can see that right shoulder right there. Lunges forward. His whole body lunges forward. He goes downhill. That's a Jason Yee term, downhill skating. He goes downhill and generates a lot of speed on that left, but then his right or left leg push, is a little abbreviated. See that shoulder turn there? Is not quite as much. It's pretty good, but it's not quite as much as the other one. Now let's look at the landing foot. The landing foot, we want to land, two things about it. We want it to land in the direction that we're going. So we'd like his toe to be a little bit more turned this way. So it's in the direction we're going. And then we want to make sure he's getting to his outside edge, all the way to the outside edge, which is a little bit, that's a little bit more tricky. When you talk about railroad skaters, I think what you're talking about there is a skater gets back to their inside edge like this when they're recovering. But this skater does a pretty good job, almost all the way to that outside edge, and so that's going to give him a little bit more ice to grab onto and to push out to generate speed forward. And the last element is that push to the outside. So we kind of look at this angle here, how far outside does it get, and you can also, if you kind of look at it from this direction, you can see if it was more a straight line here, okay, even here, more of a straight line. That's what we want, a straight line. This is a little bit up and over. We want that to be a straight line. That's going to give us a maximum outside push to the outside. It's going to improve our speed. Okay, so let's look at another skater here. He comes around. And let's look at the spring first. Right there, right here, those muscles are loaded up. So his muscles want to recover back, so we want to utilize that to spring forward. Watch how he twists and springs forward right there. A lot of that power is coming from that inner core muscles on that push right there, and it's launching forward. Let's watch how the foot recovers. The landing foot now is getting to the outside edge. Maybe could turn a little bit more in the direction we're headed, but he's getting to that outside edge, so not railroad skating. You can see on the top here, then on the, we're getting an outside push. You can see this is a little bit straighter line. A little bit if we go like that. And maybe this is a little bit straighter line going right through the back. So we have a slightly better push to the outside here. As he comes through. Now watch. Spring, spring. That spring. You can really see it. Once the players get it, you can really see it pronounced. Spring. It's in coordination. His whole body is working together to get speed. So here we can see them both at the same time. It's a good picture right there. You can kind of see the difference. This is not quite enough of an outside push. Look at the difference between those two pushes. This is a little bit more straight back. So we could get this a little bit more leg strength there to push out to the outside. And a little bit more spring on that push right there. That's the push we need. Look at on the top how his left shoulder gets out in front, and there's a twisting action that's missing on the bottom. Just a little bit more abbreviated on the bottom, and that's enough to change the speed. Let's go the other direction here. That foot, you kind of see on this side, the foot is a little bit turned outside. Here, just a little bit turned outside. See, this foot is turned a little bit out. If we could get that foot more in line with the direction, it would give us a little bit more speed. And his push is pretty good. Is there maybe room for some improvement there on this to get that more to the outside? And then how's our spring look? We're springing forward. So I would say this, again, this player could focus on pushing off the left leg and springing forward with that left shoulder. There's a better spring with the right leg. It looks to me like he's getting more launch off of this stride than that stride. It's almost like shoulders. It's almost a timing issue with that left shoulder and that left leg. The other player here. Yeah, you can see it right there. There's just a little extra push, a little extra spring. Boom. Look how far over that on that recovery leg. Look how far over that is. Right here. It's almost on the outside edge as he's recovering. You can see the nice picture up here. You can see there's a good angle there. You know, a lot of skating coaches talk about knee bend. Another thing you might want to talk about is ankle bend, because in order for that knee to be bent, there has to be some ankle bend here. You know, if you blew that up right there and looked, you'd see that there's a bend in the ankle, and then that forces that knee bend. Spring, spring. And look at them both at the same time. Front of the outside. And look at that recovery foot on the top guy. Look at the recovery foot on the top guy. These are both excellent skaters and excellent hockey players. So we're being nitpicky a little bit here, but that's the whole idea. Is we're trying to really improve our game in the details. And here's one detail. This foot to me looks more like it's tracking in the direction than this foot. So we've given up a couple inches, an inch of ice there that we could grab, just like a swimmer grabs onto water and pushes water to the side to propel them forward. Skaters grab onto ice and push it to the side to propel them forward with the twist. And just a little bit more room there. So the good news is there's more speed to get if we could get that, focus on that recovery right there. So there are a lot of elements, of course, of skating, but we're focused here on the spring, that landing foot, and pushing to the outside.